Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well. Today I'm bringing you guys a Starfield ship building guide. Now this is a completely new concept for me. I've never done anything like this, so I would really appreciate feedback if you enjoy this, or maybe even if you didn't enjoy the video. Now I'll be going over this build piece by piece. I did try to make it as easy as possible for you guys to follow. The way that the ship building in this game works makes it very, very hard, but I did try my best to make it as easy to follow as possible. Now today we will be creating the Razor Crest from the Mandalorian. Now before I teach you guys how to make it, I do want to credit 90% of this build to Supermarket Decent 306 over on Reddit. Now I did try making a Razor Crest specifically for this YouTube video, but man, it was actually such a struggle. Having to fly between all the different systems to look at all the different pieces made planning this almost impossible. And what I ended up with was nowhere near as accurate as the one that Supermarket Decent posted over on Reddit, where he had made an awesome Razor Crest build and he had listed most of the parts. Now sadly he didn't note down all the places that sell the parts, and there's of course no video tutorial of how to build it, so I've gone and taken his design, or most of it, and I've gone and found every single place that you can get these pieces and put together a video guide of how to assemble this ship yourself. Again, full credit to Supermarket Decent for the design. Check out his post in the description, and without further ado, let's get into it. So this here on screen is every single piece that you will need to build your very own Razor Crest. Now I took the starting ship, the Frontier, and I modified that. You don't have to do that, but it is a good starting point if you don't have any other ships. Now most of these pieces can be bought from Aquila City. I regretfully didn't start my build there, but I would recommend that you guys do that. Keep in mind you cannot build it like I am until you have all of the parts. Now you need to buy each part separately and then figure out a way to fit it onto the ship, make it flyable, and then you have to travel to the next system to get the other parts. Now this was a nightmare for me at first because I bought the pieces in a bad order, but again I recommend you come to Aquila City, buying all the pieces from there that you can, and then making a functional ship out of those pieces. Then we will be going to New Atlantis and then to Deimos for the rest. Here on screen is a full list of every piece and where to buy them. If you want, you can go and get the pieces and then come back to the video and I'll show you how to assemble it piece by piece. Also, if you're curious, you can just copy my color presets right here. I did go for a light gray to make it resemble the shine from the show. And you can of course make it a little darker if you prefer that look. Color 3 on some ship parts always ended up a little darker for whatever reason. So for that, when that happened, I used an almost white color to match the other parts. All right, let's get into it. So we're going to start the build at the front of the ship with the ship bed 200 landing bay. We're then going to grab our Armstrong 10 cockpit and place that right on top. Remember to use the scale on the right to lift pieces up and down if you need to. Next, we're going to grab our Tayo Engineering Bay 3x1 bottom B and attach that to the landing bay just like this. Next, I'm going to grab the Tayo Engineering Bay 3x1 top A and place it right on top. We're then going to grab the Stroud all-in-one berth 3x1 and place that on top again. But this time we're going to move it one spot downwards like this. Next, we're going to fill in that empty spot with our Deimos Cowling 4. Now this connects really nicely with the cockpit and it starts to give the ship some shape. We're then going to grab our Deimos wings and place them on both sides like this, connecting to the top layer and adding a little more shape to the sides of the ship. Next up, grab your slim docker. When you purchase this, it might be facing upwards. That's fine, just use the flip button to swap it to a bottom docker. Now we're going to place this right here in the middle of our 3x1. Next, I'm grabbing my reactor of choice. Now, these functional parts of the build can of course change to your liking. If you want to use the exact same parts as me, consider checking out my other video where I explain how you can instantly max out your piloting skill so that you can use Class B and C ship parts. No matter what reactor you choose, just slot that right here underneath the overhang, and your ship should look like this. Next up, just grab your 320cb landing gear and slot it under your reactor. I'm then going to go and grab my cosmetic tire side caps, and I'm going to add them to the sides right here. Now moving on to the engines, we first want to get our Stroud engine braces and attach them to the topmost part at the back on both sides. We will then grab our Nova 1010 engines and attach them as well. Now, while these engines aren't identical to the ones on the Razor Crest, the only better alternatives that I found weigh as much as the entire rest of the ship each, meaning when I attach them, it actually triples the weight of the total build and it makes it unflyable. If I find a workaround for that, I will of course let you know, but I think these engines still do look fantastic. Now don't forget to attach the braking engine ports to the engines to give them that awesome look. Now I do realize here that the engines actually need to be one slot higher, so just select them and raise them by one, and then do the same with the engine ports. Now you can see the ship is starting to take shape. Now let's bulk out the back a little by grabbing our smaller White Dwarf 1020 engines and attaching them below the big ones just like this. Now our ship is getting pretty heavy for the little landing gear that we have, so we need to bulk that out a bit more by adding one Pinpoint 3G landing gear to each side of the ship. We can then finish up on the wings by grabbing our M30 Ulysses fuel tanks and adding them to the inside slot just like this. Now we're going to attach our grav drive to the back. This is another optional piece, choose whichever grav drive you like. Now we're then going to add our shield generator on top. Now this probably ruins the design the most out of all the bits that I'm adding, and you can go without it if you want or swap it out for another piece, but this is as good as I could make the design while still keeping it functional in ship combat. We then need to grab our cargo hold and add it underneath at the back. You can definitely swap this out for something bigger if you like. Now the build is basically complete, we just have the weapons remaining. Honestly, do what you want with the weapons. The ones I chose were because I thought they were as close as I could get to the laser cannons that Din uses in the show. If you want to do it how I did it, you want to attach the weapons with a weapon mount at the front slots on the landing gear. Once I had both of those slots on the front, I then chose to attach two Mauler 104 autocannons to those mounts in the top slot. I then got two Reza 600 pulse lasers and attached them above the side landing gears right here. Now you can add more weapons if you like, or move them around, go crazy, do whatever you like. But before you finish up, there is one vital step, the most important step in the entire build, and that of course is to click on flight check in the bottom right, and then press rename ship. Then you really do have your very own Razor Crest. Here is the parts list if you missed it before, and here are the colors again if you need them. I'm very happy to say that this thing is actually usable and very, very strong. And while I did build this solely just for this video, I will admit that I am struggling to swap ships despite having many better ones, because creating something unique or not originally from this game is so insanely addictive, and it makes you love the ships so much more. Now, I do hope this video was useful. It has inspired me to make many awesome ship designs in the future, and I do hope to turn them into guides like this. Please let me know what you think can be improved, and thanks again for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Take care. Peace.